Hello and welcome to the Football News Zone, the show round up all the biggest stories in the beautiful game right now. The rounds of 16 in the European competitions have concluded this week, but which other stories have grabbed our attention? This week, Manchester United have announced their plans for a new 100,000-seater stadium. Thomas Tuchel has named his first England squad, and we also preview the EFL Cup Final, which is on later today at Wembley Stadium in London. All that and a whole lot more is in today's show. Let's dive in. Alright guys, big breaking news from the world of English football and Manchester United. It has been very heavily rumoured that Man United were going to announce a new 100,000-seater stadium built near the site of where their current Old Trafford Stadium is. And here on Twitter/X, as you can see now, it has been confirmed by the club. There are some really cool images here. A 100,000-seater stadium, bigger than Wembley. It's on a par with the Nou Camp over in Barcelona. That is a massive stadium. All credit to Manchester United for, of course, sharing these images. There's a full press release here as well. Might as well go through this and see what has been said. Yeah, interesting. This comes out just a day after Ratcliffe's very honest and open interview about the finances of the club. And yeah, it is a huge project, this. I'll just go back to the actual pictures. I mean, that looks absolutely incredible. I mean, this is going to take some time to build, no doubt about that. But yeah, a lot going on there. A lot of buildings and stuff next to it. I imagine those are already there, possibly. And there's an inside view of the new stadium as well. The new Old Trafford. I don't think it's going to have an official name yet, but I could be wrong. Hey, they're winning 3-0. They're being optimistic there, especially with their home form at the moment. But let's have a look at this, guys. Let's go to the Manchester United website and just go through what's been detailed here. So Manchester United has thrown its support behind the government's growth agenda by announcing its intention to pursue a 100,000-seater stadium as the centerpiece of the regeneration of Old Trafford area. The stadium and wider regeneration project have the potential to deliver an additional £7.3 billion per year to the UK economy, which brings large-scale social and economic benefits to the community and wider region, including the possible creation of 92,000 new jobs, more than 17,000 new homes, as well as driving an additional 1.8 million visitors annually. Conceptual images and scaled models of what the new stadium and surrounding area could look like were unveiled on Tuesday by Foster and Partners, the architect group appointed to design the stadium district. These will provide a master plan for a more detailed feasibility, consultation, design and planning works as the project enters a new phase. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the co-owner of Manchester United, said today marks the start of an incredibly exciting journey to the delivery of what will be the world's greatest football stadium at the centre of a regenerated Old Trafford. Our current stadium has served us brilliantly for the past 115 years, but it has fallen behind the arenas in the world. By building next to the existing site, we will be able to preserve the essence of Old Trafford while creating a truly state-of-the-art stadium that transforms the fan experience, only footsteps from our historic home. Just as important is the opportunity for a new stadium to be the catalyst for social and economic renewal of the Old Trafford area, creating jobs and investment, not just during the construction phase, but on a lasting basis when the stadium district is complete. The government has identified infrastructure investment as a strategic priority, particularly in the north of England, and we are proud to be supporting that mission with this project of national as well as local significance. And there's some quotes as well from Omar Barada. Let's have a look if there's any more. Just happened in the last few minutes or so. There's a few people there with quotes and stuff. There's no kind of confirmation on when it will start to be built, when it will be finished being built. Like I said, there's full article there, full press release on obviously Manchester United's website. Sorry, I'm kind of going around the houses a bit here with this, guys, but I'm literally going to go around the houses and go on to just go onto Google Maps here and go over what that area is looking like. So obviously, if we have a look, best way to do this, I reckon, is just put this over here and then get the image of the outside. Here we go. Right, so if we put that over there, so if I just get my two things here, it's got two windows. Right, okay, so basically, so that angle of that photo is excuse me, is looking from this direction here. You can see the river there going around it. Now, it looks as though to me, from my very untrained and unprofessional eye when it comes to development and stuff, that they are going to completely redevelop all of this here. They look just like blocks of flats and stuff like that. It might be a bit of a similar situation to what Real Madrid have with their stadium. Like, they've got the Bernabeu, and then they've obviously got like an entire like Real Madrid town city where a lot of the players and stuff live. They might do something similar like that as well. I imagine the rent on those places will be very high, not to say. I mean, it's pretty expensive in Manchester anyway, to be honest. But yeah, so it's not only going to regenerate this whole area, it's going to redo the whole stadium too. Now, in terms of, it's going to be interesting this, because just looking at it again, just looking at where that stadium is, the new one, it looks almost exactly the same place as where the Old Trafford is, the current Old Trafford. So we could well see Manchester United having to ground share, having to go somewhere to play their games for like a season or two or something. Not dissimilar to what Tottenham Hotspur had to do. They had to go and play at Wembley. But where are Manchester United going to play? They're never going to play it. They're never going to play at Anfield or the Etihad, are they? So interesting times. Could we see? Of course, I'm joking, but could we see them ground sharing with Bolton Wanderers or Wigan Athletic? Yeah, I mean, maybe Everton. Playing the city of Liverpool though, that's a bit sacrilege. Anyway, I'm sure it'll all get figured out in time. But yeah, we kind of knew this news was going to come. Like I said, it's not come as a huge surprise today because it was rumored that it was going to happen today. Yeah, so they need a bit of good PR and press on Manchester United right now, and I think they've got it with that. But yeah, guys, let us know what you think. Old Trafford is going to come to an end. When exactly? Don't know. I mean, I'm sure they'd like to have that new stadium ready for the 2027-28 season, their 150th anniversary, the one where they are aiming to win the title for. But I don't. It's not going to be ready for then. That is a humongous project. That's going to take, I reckon that's going to take at least 5 years to do. That stadium looks spectacular. Let's not get away from that fact. But yeah, Man United fans, happy? Sad? Let us know in the comments below. So, Thomas Tuchel has named his first England selection as the England national team manager. Now, I've seen the headline for this. There's going to be a lot of controversy with this, to say the least. But let's have a full rundown of who he has selected. And yeah, like I said, controversial. I've seen the headline, and the headline is, I won't kind of skirt around that. The headline is that Jordan Henderson has been selected for England for the first time in a very long time. Jordan Henderson, who's a rather controversial figure in English football, he was booed the last time he played at Wembley for the Three Lions because of his move to Saudi Arabia. He's since been playing for Ajax, where, to my understanding, he hasn't really pulled up any trees or done much, to be honest. So how he has ended up being in the squad is kind of incredible. I mean, we had a go at Gareth Southgate for showing loyalty to players. Now, Tuchel doesn't have that loyalty really towards Henderson. He's never managed Henderson before, but to choose Henderson is a very, very bizarre decision. But let's have a look at the full squad. So we'll start with the goalkeepers. Dean Henderson, the less controversial Henderson, Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale, and James Trafford. I mean, the main surprise for me there is no Nick Pope. I thought Pope would have been in there. I know he's not favoured as much by most managers because he's not so great with his feet, but to choose Trafford and Ramsdale, I mean, Trafford having a great season, obviously, for Burnley down the Championship. Ramsdale having a very difficult time of things at Southampton, but I don't think it's really his fault. Some surprises at defence. Dan Burn getting called up for Newcastle. I mean, I'm not against it. I think he's a good player, but that's a surprise to see him there. Levi Colwill of Chelsea, Mark Gahey, Reece James, Ezri Konsa, Miles Lewis-Skelly, good to see him get called up for the first time for England. I think he's been a revelation at Arsenal. Tino Livramento from Newcastle, Jarrell Kwanzaa, and Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's still in the England setup, which is exciting to see. Yeah, not really many major problems with the defence there. I think that's pretty bob on, to be honest. Some surprises in there, like I said, with Dan Burn, but nothing too egregious there, really. Midfielders, Jude Bellingham from Real Madrid, Eberiche Eze of Crystal Palace, Jordan Henderson, I've already had my word on him, Curtis Jones, Cole Palmer, Declan Rice, and Morgan Rogers, who's a bit of a forward almost, more of a winger, but yeah, good to see all those guys in there. But no Angel Gomez. I'm not sure if he's injured over at Lille. And no Conor Gallagher. Yeah, I mean, for me, El Bull has been nicknamed over in Atletico Madrid. I think he's a non-negotiable, really. I would 100% put him in the squad. I'm not sure why he's not been selected there, especially over Henderson. Get Gallagher in instead of Henderson. Henderson's useless, man. Come on. And he's not a very good person either, let's be real. From a professional and personal point of view, a very questionable choice there, to say the least. Up front, we've got Jared Bowen from West Ham, Phil Foden from Man City, Anthony Gordon from Newcastle, Harry Kane from Bayern Munich, Marcus Rashford from Aston Villa. Good to see him back in the England setup. I mean, again, people will criticise that, but I think he's been doing well in Aston Villa. I think he's a good shot to put in there. I'd certainly have him in there over Phil Foden or Jared Bowen personally. That's just my opinion. And also Dominic Solanke as well. Now, of course, Ollie Watkins probably would have been chosen, but he is injured at the moment for Aston Villa, so he's a surprising one that's not in there, but also not because of the injury that he picked up the other day in the Champions League. So yeah, surprising. I mean, the top comment on most of the posts that have been put out is Tuchel out. I mean, I will judge properly after we see this team in action. Some surprising announcements there, some disappointing announcements as well, I will be honest. Like I said, Jordan Henderson in that squad, he should be absolutely... Honestly, the free line should not touch that person with an absolute barge pole. Listen, if he goes and performs, I will give him his credit, but yeah, I don't think he's a particularly positive influence on that squad, and having him in instead of Conor Gallagher is scandalous in my opinion. It really is. But some positive inclusions in there. Miles Lewis-Skelly being in is good, of course. Dan Burns is a surprise one, but I think he could be quite good. Good to see the likes of Reece James getting recalled as well. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Tuchel out, or are you happy with this squad? Or are you somewhere in between? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. So we need to talk about the penalty shootout between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid last night. So the first leg of this round of 16 tie was a 2-1 victory for Los Blancos. Atleti equalised on aggregate and took the lead in the second leg, 1-0, 2-2 on aggregate. Pretty early on, literally in the first couple of minutes, Conor Gallagher of all players popping up with a goal. El Pitbull has been kind of nicknamed over in Atletico Madrid, doing very, very well for himself there. But this tie was really, really enthralling. I mean, it was a 1-0 victory for Atletico Madrid after extra time, but it was very, very entertaining. Really high quality game. Real Madrid missing a penalty, Vinicius Jr. missing a penalty, humiliatingly missing a penalty, which would have won the game had things stood. But it went to a penalty shootout, 2-2 on aggregate, and yeah, big controversy with one of the penalties, and I am really, really struggling to see what the VAR has done here, because yeah, so Julian Alvarez, who you probably remember from his time at Manchester City the last couple of seasons, he steps up to take a penalty. Now he slips as he takes the penalty. This is the wide shot, and I would show you this, by the way, guys, but of course I do not have the rights to be able to do that, unfortunately. I do actually go over and look at it yourself if you want to make your own opinion about this, but for me this is absolute daylight robbery. This really is. So Alvarez steps up, takes the penalty, slips while he does it, goes while the goalkeeper from Real Madrid goes the wrong way. Fans celebrate, he celebrates, all is well with the world. But, oh, good old VAR has to intervene here now. The Real Madrid players immediately say he hit that with 2 touches. Now, for those that don't know, with a penalty of any description, if you make 2 touches with it as the penalty taker, it is not allowed. You're only allowed to hit it once. Strike the ball, clean, hit the penalty. Simple as that. You're not allowed to flick it up and hit it or something like that. You know, that is not allowed in a penalty shootout. And the rule, surprisingly, if you get caught doing this, is not for the retake to be taken, but for the penalty to be chalked off. For it to be a miss, even if they score it. So that's why this was so crucial. Now, I am trying so hard to see what the VAR is seeing here. There's a slow motion here. Now, Alvarez slips, like I said. He puts his standing leg down. And I thought initially, oh, well, maybe his standing leg has made contact with the ball before his striking leg. Maybe that's what's happened here. But I cannot see the ball move. The ball does not move at all from that. So it's not that. What the VAR is alleging happened is that after he struck the ball with his right foot, his striking foot, it hit his standing foot, his left foot, on the way through. And that deflected the ball, and therefore it was a 2-touch penalty and it is illegal. But I can't see it. I cannot see what they have seen here. I mean, I've looked at all the angles. I've done this dozens of times. I cannot see it. I cannot definitively say, looking at all these replays, unless VAR has some other angle or something that we're not seeing, which, again, that's a problem with VAR, of course, the fact that it's very, very opaque at the best of times. I cannot see this. I can't see where this second touch has come from. I cannot say definitively there is a clear and obvious area here. And by the way, look at the referee. If you look at the slow motion footage, look at the referee. He's right there looking at it. He should be able to see this. If there's a two-touch penalty, he should be able to see it. But it's not a two-touch penalty. I cannot see it. And I'm not going to launch into a whole tirade about, oh, it's a Real Madrid conspiracy. UEFA is, pandering to Real Madrid to let them get through. It's a big conspiracy. I'm not saying that, right? There are people saying that. Things like this very much fuel those arguments. And I'm not going to get into that. But this is just an all-round blunder. VAR is brought in to correct clear and obvious errors. That is as clear as mud. You cannot say with any authority that definitely was a two-touch penalty. It is an absolute travesty, and that unfortunately did cost Atletico Madrid going through to the quarterfinals. They're out of the Champions League. Now, of course, you could say, well, they should have, done better, and the other penalties do better, Yeah, of course, but that was a penalty that they did hit. They did hit the back of the net, but unfortunately didn't count. Now, for me, the rule is a bit wrong on this one. I think they should change it so that it should be a retake. If a goalkeeper is off the line and saves a penalty, then that penalty is retaken. It's not given as a goal. It is given as a retake. And I think the same should apply for this, because Alvarez is a good player. We know this, right? Is he that good to be able to do this on purpose? No, it was an accident. There's no way he meant to slid and fall on his backside. No chance. It's just a mistake. But it's not even a mistake for me, because I can't. Guys, if you can see there's a second touch there, please tell me, but I cannot see it for life for me. No chance. But anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. So IFAB, the International Football Association Board, i.e. the people that make the rules of the game, they have announced that there will be changes to the laws of football for the 2025-26 season. Now, you might have already heard this spoken about before, been kind of touted, and it is officially going to happen now after some successful trials in Italy, in Malta, and also in Premier League 2, the official development league of the Premier League, basically under 21s, the under 23 league, whatever it's known as these days. And that is, of course, they are changing the rule when it comes to goalkeepers holding onto the ball in open play. Now, previously, officially, and currently, if a goalkeeper holds onto the ball for more than 6 seconds, then there will be an indirect free kick given against them. However, this never happens. The referees never enforce this law. I think when they first brought it in, it was strictly applied, but it wasn't after a while, and it's just kind of been an unwritten rule, effectively. Even though it's a written rule, no one follows it. The goalkeepers don't, the referees don't. It just doesn't happen. So that doesn't fill me with a lot of hope for this, to be honest with you. I don't feel like this is going to be a law that is followed by goalkeepers. I feel I'm just going to, it's going to be applied for the first few games of the Premier League season next season, and then after that, no one's going to do it, because it's just going to give an initial amount of ridiculous amount of corners, really, when it comes to it. Because if the goalkeepers hold on to it for more than 8 seconds, then the corner is given against them, basically. Before, it was an indirect free kick, but again, like I said, it's never applied. It never happens. Now, IFAB are confident about this, unsurprisingly. They are very confident about this. They are saying that, well, in the trials that we've done, there have been barely any incidents where goalkeepers have held onto the ball for more than 8 seconds. But anybody who has attended a football match in the last 20 years since this first initial rule came in will know that goalkeepers hold onto the ball for a lot longer than 8 seconds. Sometimes they can hold onto it for a good 15-20 seconds. At least it feels like that anyway when they're trying to waste time. So if the rule was applied now and goalkeepers didn't change their behaviour, corner stats would be the wazoo. All the players would just be giving the biggest players onto the pitch. Managers would just have the 6'8" lads or whatever up from the back constantly, because the amount of corners they'd be conceding is ridiculous. So now, don't get me wrong, the goalkeepers will change their behaviour with this. They will do. That's without a doubt. They're not going to want to give away corners, but I don't think this is going to last for very long. I can't see it happening. And someone put it very, very well. I can't remember who it was, but it was a former professional footballer that basically said, look, this is a classic example of where the rules of football are being made by those who have never played it professionally. Because in theory, this makes sense. You want to cut out out time wasting. Why not give a kind of punishment like that? Well, at the end of the day, you can do that, but it's never going to happen. I don't see this happening in terms of it being a long, sustainable rule. It's going to be one of them rules that's written but never applied. Really, it'll be applied for the first few games of the Premier League season, and we'll see it during the FIFA Club World Cup. I think that's the first tournament when it's going to have it in the Premier League, and all the other major leagues in Europe are going to have it for the next season in 2025-26. You know, and same for the European competitions as well, I imagine. So it's farcical. It's rather farcical to say the least. I'm not a fan of this at all. You know, if you want to cut down on time wasting, that's fine. I understand that, but just add on time at the end of the half appropriately, which is still something I don't think they do most of the time. They've got better at it, but you know, the amount of times you go to games and there's been 5, 6, 7 minutes of time wasted, whether it's actual time wasting or goal celebration or players down injured or another stoppage in play, and you know, you get about 3 minutes added on in the first half, and then the second half you have about 4 minutes of time wasted and they add on 8 minutes. That happens all the time, and unfortunately, like I said, I am not optimistic for this rule, but that is the long and short of it. If a goalkeeper holds onto the ball for more than 8 seconds, a corner kick will be given against them. And you know it's a bad rule when even Mike Dean, you know, the person who used to be a very controversial referee in England, and I saw him on Soccer Saturday on the build-up to the games, and he was very doubtful about this being applied to. And that's, you know, that's a guy that always sticks up for his mates. He always agrees with the referees, and with this one, he doesn't agree with it. So I think that in itself speaks volumes. But what do you think, guys? Is this a positive move for football? Do you think this is something they need to cut out? Will it work, and will it be applied during next season correctly? Your thoughts in the comments below. It's almost time, guys. Liverpool against Newcastle United, the EFL Cup Final, the Carabao Cup Final, East Coast versus West Coast rivalry going on here, being played out at the wonderful Wembley Stadium. The first domestic cup final of the season being played this Sunday, 16th of March at 4:30 p.m. local time kickoff. But who's going to come out on top? What are my thoughts coming into this game? And of course, who is likely to line up for both sides? I'm going to bring you all that in my Carabao Cup final preview. So let's start with Liverpool. I guess the biggest question around Liverpool really is who is going to start in goal. Of course, Alisson is doing incredible work in the goal for Liverpool. His performances against PSG recently were absolutely incredible. He was pulling off some world-class saves, but up until this point in the competition, Cowlan Kelleher, I can never say his name, the backup goalkeeper, the Irish guy, he was playing in the EFL Cup, partly because of Alisson being injured for so long, but ever since he came back as well, Kelleher has been the goalkeeper of choice for the Cups. Now, whether he starts in the final or not is another matter, but I'd like to think Slot will actually reward that loyalty, those good performances from Kelleher in the EFL Cup. So I would back him to actually start, although it would not surprise me if, of course, he does not and Alisson comes in instead. Now, Liverpool are going to play as strong a side as possible. There is no hint that they will back off at all with this one. They've pretty much won the Premier League at this point. They are out of the FA Cup, and now they're also out of the Champions League as well. So this really is quite literally their cup final. They can't go win anything else that they've not already won effectively. But who will not be playing is, of course, Joe Gomez and Conor Branley. They are also ruled out. That means that Jarrell Kwanzaa, who is, of course, that has been called up recently to the England squad, he could well get a start for Liverpool this weekend against Newcastle. Tyler Morton, any kind of hope that he had as well is also gone. He's out with a shoulder injury this weekend. But good news for Liverpool is that Ibrahima Konate is set to play. I imagine he will start at the back alongside Virgil van Dijk at centre back. Cody Gakpo is also back in midweek against PSG. Again, he's someone else I expect to have some sort of say in this game. I'll be surprised if he doesn't actually start, of course. Alexander-Arnold, he is injured. Like I said, Kwanzaa will most likely come in for him at right back. At left back, Andy Robertson will more than likely start. McAllister and Gravenberch both in the centre of midfield. Will likely see Szoboszlai playing an attacking midfield role with Cody Gakpo, Diaz and Mohamed Salah up top for Liverpool. Now for Newcastle, interestingly, we of course had the news that Dan Burn has been given a call up to the England squad. I will be shocked if the big man at the back does not start for Newcastle as a result of that. Now again, when it comes to the goalkeeping situation for Newcastle, now Martin Dubravka has been playing in the EFL Cup so far this season, but of course Nick Pope is their main goalkeeper. Will Howe go with a bit of loyalty there or go for the player that has been playing most often? For what it's worth, I'd be surprised if he doesn't start Pope, because this is a chance for Newcastle to win their first piece of domestic silverware in, what, 60 years? 70 years? It's been a very long time since Newcastle won any sort of major silverware, so I imagine he will play his best squad. Nick Pope in goal, I expect to happen. Livramento, Shaw and Trippier also at the back. Dan Burn, of course, like I already mentioned. Sandro Tonali, Umreich and Willock, Murphy, Isaac and Joe Linton, I all expect to be in the lineup for Newcastle. Callum Wilson could make a surprise start, but I imagine he'll probably be used as an impact sub off the bench. I don't really see Newcastle going with 2 forwards up front. I think that's a bit too adventurous against Liverpool's side that will come into this one as the heavy favourite. Lewis Hall, of course, won't be involved in any action for Newcastle for the rest of the season, unfortunately. Really nasty injury that he has suffered recently for the Toon. Sven Botman is, of course, out. He's been injured for a very long time, and he needs some more work on that. But of course, the big absentee is Anthony Gordon. He's of course suspended. He got sent off in the FA Cup, and unfortunately, he does miss the final of the EFL Cup because of that. So a bit of a double blow there, out of the FA Cup, and also not being able to play in the final. That is going to be a big factor, really, in terms of how I expect this game to go. And you know, as a result, I do expect Liverpool to win relatively comfortably. I think, you know, they were very much shown up by PSG, to be quite frank. I was not expecting PSG to be that good against Liverpool over 2 legs. You know, PSG absolutely deserved it. They dominated the first leg in Paris and somehow lost, and in the second leg they were pretty good as well and managed to win, going through on penalties. So I do think Liverpool are going to win. This is a huge deal for this is his first chance to win some silverware as Liverpool manager, and not the last by any means. As like I said, he's probably going to win the Premier League more than likely. So I'm expecting Liverpool to win. I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory to Liverpool. I think, you know, Newcastle are a good side at the end of the day, and they're playing well at times, but I think Liverpool, like I said, they've got a bit of face to really save at this point. They cannot mess up against Newcastle because they are coming in as the favourites, and understandably so. So I expect Liverpool to extend their record-breaking tally of EFL Cups. I think they've won 10. I know they've won the most out of all, so I imagine them to make that 11 if that is the case this weekend. But guys, what do you think? I'm hoping for a good game. I'm hoping for a competitive game. And as a neutral, I would like Newcastle to win, but I just don't really see it personally. I really don't. But I'd love to be wrong. I would love for Newcastle to win, and just a bit of variety at the end of the day. Someone else winning one of the major trophies in England. But yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see some more from us, just like this, guys. I'll be reacting to this match as well. Of course, most likely on Monday. Sunday, I've got a very busy day with the likes of course, the Australian Grand Prix, which is on at 4 a.m. For you guys that follow me on F1Chronicle.com, you'll know that's what I'm doing for you guys. So yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't mean that the EFL Cup final has to suffer a little bit, but I'll be reacting on Monday. Don't you worry about that, guys. But yeah, have a great weekend ahead. Hope it's a fantastic match, and yeah, let's enjoy the EFL Cup final and a full round of Premier League fixtures aside from these sides and the ones that we're going to play. So yeah, see you soon, guys. Have a great day.